Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
What a night, what a night, what a grand night it was. Grand slams from Bruce, from Frazier. Cozart clubbed a pair of home runs last night. He's already matched his season total all of last year. Tonight, Johnny on the hill for the Redlegs. We welcome you to Miller Park, where again it's very cold outside, but thankfully we have a roof here in Milwaukee. Third game in this four-game series between the Reds and the Brewers, and the Reds are trying to make it 3 straight wins. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball here on Fox Sports Ohio. All of a sudden, after having a hard time scoring runs in St. Louis, 22 of them in 2 days here.
Well, when the pitchers' duels decided to stop, they stopped in a big way last night because there were nothing but home run balls, and I mean hit all over the ballpark. Zach Cozart had a couple of them last night. The Reds hit 7 in all, including Joey Votto and some grand slams in there too. Jay Bruce and Todd Frazier for good measure. It was a good night to be swinging the bat.
We'll try and keep that rolling, obviously, here tonight against Jimmy Nelson. We'll talk more about him in just a moment. But, hey, look, one thing that has to happen, the Reds need to start winning games when Johnny Cueto is on the mound. And the reason they haven't, they simply just don't score when he gets the ball.
Well, you're right about that. This year he's been a really tough luck pitcher. They've averaged 1.7 runs per game while he's been out there. That's not very many. 4 runs overall in his 2 starts for Johnny Cueto. And, you know, Cueto is a guy that's not going to give up. But you look at what he's done in Milwaukee, and he has never won a ball game here, despite the fact having his team is 11-5 against the Milwaukee Brewers over his lifetime. He's never won here, so the Milwaukee Brewer fans have not had a chance to see him at his best. Maybe they will see him at his best tonight. Jimmy Nelson, big guy, big hard-throwing right-hander. He's a young man. He's 6 feet 6 inches tall. He's thrown the ball pretty well for the Brewers so far this year. He's got one of their 2 wins on the season. He's come up with a new pitch. We'll talk about that as we get into the ball game. But he's a young man with, well, pretty big challenge ahead of him because he's facing Johnny Cueto tonight.
Coming up, there is no better place on the planet than the state of Wisconsin. The whole state for tailgating. Doesn't matter. Miller Park, Madison, Green Bay, that's coming up.
cold Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm Jim Day. We are outside of Miller Park. I said it before, Milwaukee and Wisconsin in general, the tailgating capital of the universe. Rain, snow, it doesn't matter with these people. It snowed today in Milwaukee. Are you people crazy for tailgating out here? That's what I thought. They're crazy, but a good kind of crazy. This is the grill to end all grills right here. Now, who's the man that made this thing? Come on up here. Look at this thing. What did you make this out of?
Oil tanker. Basically took it out of someone's basement, and we got the trailer from Craigslist and put this baby together. Union made.
So rain, shine, snow, it doesn't matter with you people, right? It's just tailgating is it.
Tailgate is it.
Well, these are members of the union that actually built the stadium, right? Miller Park? Yes, sir. And a fine establishment it is. Let's talk some baseball. It's our T-Mobile game changer. Let's check out Zach Cozart. This guy is on fire. 4 home runs equals his total from last year and many, many fewer at-bats. So he has been changing the game for the Reds. And I'm going to tell you what, this tailgate is a game changer for me. Can I sample some of the cuisine? All right, here we go. We got a little broad action with some onions. Oh, Italian with onions. On Wisconsin! Stay with us. 22 runs and counting, we hope. Mom, I'm sorry, I'm talking with my mouth full. We're back after this.
Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy, check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Looking forward to getting home for some of that. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Red starting lineup brought to you by Meyer. Billy Hamilton to be followed by Joey Votto and Todd Frazier. Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, Marlon Byrd, the middle third. Latter third again of Brian Pena. Zach Cozart, Johnny Cueto against 25-year-old right-hander, grew up in Florida, Jimmy Nelson.
Interesting, born in Oregon, grew up in Florida, Niceville, Florida. That's up in northern Florida. Ended up going to the University of Alabama on a college scholarship after he decided not to sign with the Reds. They drafted him out of high school as a senior, and here he is in the major leagues with the Brewers.
Billy Hamilton digging in to lead it off. First pitch swinging, fouls it away, strike one, and we are underway.
Nelson will come right after you. Fastball, slider. He added a little bit of a wrinkle this year. He picked up over the winter a new curveball, a spiked curveball that he's used to change speeds on his breaking ball a little bit with.
And that one floated into left center field, a base hit, and that's a good way to get it started. Billy Hamilton, a perfect 8 for 8 in stolen base attempts so far this year. And what about the running game against this combination without Jonathan Lucroy?
Well, Jonathan Lucroy is a guy that really helped shut the running game down. Jimmy Nelson's a big guy. He's delivered to the plate. He was not bad in holding runners when he was out in AAA last year. But at the big league level, you know, Lucroy helped them out a lot. They were 2 up and 2 down last season, or for this year already, I should say. But Lucroy's been behind the plate for his other starts.
The Reds as a team this year, pardon me, Chris, are 16 out of 16 in stolen base attempts.
Now, Maldonado has a very good arm behind the plate. But Brewers pitching has not really given him a chance to throw runners out so far in this series.
Strike one to the white hot Joey Votto. 20 hits in 53 at bats. As a note we talked about, that's the best start, being perfect to begin a season, to start a year in a long time. Votto 6 home runs, 13 runs batted in, among the league leaders in virtually every major offensive statistical category. First in home runs, top 7 in batting average. There goes Hamilton, throw down by Maldonado, and Hamilton is 9 out of 9, and the Reds go to 17 of 17.
You know, you had an idea Billy was going as soon as he could. He had opened up his front foot a little bit towards second base, just as Nelson had taken the look over there. And that gives him a little bit easier chance to see how that right foot is pointing a little bit towards second base. Opens up his hips better, makes the first couple of steps faster out of the box, and he ends up easily into second base.
1-1 now to Votto. Breaking ball is low, and you know, in essence, that pitch was almost like a pitch out. It was a fastball away from a left-handed batter. Left the door wide open for Maldonado to make a good throw and still couldn't get it.
Most young pitchers coming to the major leagues come on the strength of their arm and getting hitters out, not the strength on shutting down running games.
And that one is laced into left field, and the Reds will take a 1-0 lead as Votto drives in his 14th run of the year. Only Paul Goldschmidt of Arizona has more runs batted in than Votto. 1-0 after 2 batters into the game.
Well, Votto had a pretty good look at Nelson's release point, his fastball, how the ball's coming out of his hand. And I'm sure that he said to himself, with Billy Hamilton on second base, if he gives me an outside fastball, I'm simply going to slap it in the left, take a base hit, pick up an RBI, and put the Reds on the board.
So now Todd Frazier. 14 hits, 56 at-bats, 4 of those hits home runs, including his first career grand slam here last night. And boy, did he tag it. That was the second grand slam in consecutive innings of Reds club last night. Bruce in the third, Frazier in the fourth. 0-2 to count. When Frazier hits him 9 times out of 10, there's no doubt about it. Reds homered in 5 consecutive innings in that game last night. One and 2 on Todd Frazier. Well, what a nice way to get a game started against a guy who's off to a good start on the mound.
How would you like to be Jimmy Nelson, and 2 batters in, he's already 1 run down?
How do you think Ron Renick's feeling?
I mean, 2 opposite field base hits, and you're down a run.
Going to throw to second. That took him a long time, and they still turn it. Herrera did a nice job, and he had some mustard on that relay throw because it seemed to take Nelson forever. Let's take a look at Milwaukee on defense, presented by your Ford dealers. Parra back in center field, did not start last night. Ramirez back at third. Herrera hit a grand slam after just being brought up from the minor leagues last night.
Right back to the pitcher. I think he had to wait a moment to make sure Herrera was there. But when he did cut it loose, he threw that about 95 to the webbing of the second baseman's glove, and Herrera was able to turn it in time to get two.
Now Brandon Phillips. Brandon had the opening game off in this series. And he came back last night and had a good night. 2 hits, scored a run, knocked in a couple of runs. Nelson going into last year was ranked as the Brewers' #1 prospect. Chris told you that, and he backed those numbers up starting the year in AAA, going 10-2 with an ERA of under 1.5. That's in the air. Left field. Davis at the warning track will make the play to end the inning. But the Reds get a run. Run, Billy, run, Billy, run, Billy, run. Lloyd knows he's pitched well enough to easily be by that number. Part of our Elk and Elk storyline, his career against these Brewers. Chris mentioned it a moment ago, unbeaten against them on the home front. Has not won a game in 6 starts here, although it should be noted. You see that high ERA, don't be fooled. Cueto had a game here in 2010 where he went 1 1/3 innings and allowed 8 runs. His other starts in this ballpark, he's allowed 2, 3, 3, none, 3.
And still winless in this ballpark. You know, the interesting thing, though, Tom, is that it's about time the Reds allowed Brewers fans to get a look at Johnny Cueto, because he has not pitched here since 2012. He has pitched 58 starts in the major leagues between the last time that he took the ball here in August 7, 2012 until tonight.
Hard to believe.
A lot of them are up there saying, well, finally we get a chance to look at Johnny Cueto. In fact, the last time he pitched here, his hair was only about half that long. That's 5 years worth right there.
Getting pretty long. Gene Segura, a ground out to short to begin the Milwaukee first inning, and here's Herrera in there, a strike. Cueto 3 starts. His first start of the year, he shut out the Cardinals over 7 innings, left with a lead. The bullpen blew it. That was against the Pirates. And the Reds wound up winning the game. Then against St. Louis, he went 7 innings, allowed 1 earned run, but the Reds only scored 1 run. Cueto got the loss, giving up 2 total. Then the last start, he was locked up in another matchup with Michael Wacha. Had only given up 1 until the 7th, and they got 3 more off of him his final inning of work.
Isn't it like that, though, with a lot of ace of staffs where the other team is so psyched up when Johnny Cueto takes them out, when Clayton Kershaw takes them out, Adam Wainwright, whoever it may be. They're thinking, this is our night, we're going to knock this guy off this pedestal. So sometimes they bring their A game against the opposing team stopper that you don't bring against the 3rd or 4th or 5th guy in the rotation.
Alien Herrera has gone the distance with Cueto. And we'll try it one more time.
And that's really what makes it so amazing to me, how the great players in this game are able to do it year after year after year and really separate themselves from the rest of the pack. And you're looking at one right now in Johnny Cueto that has done exactly that.
And he issues a rare walk, only his 4th all season long. Look at the rest of Ron Renicki's starting lineup. His Brewers off to a franchise worst 2-12 start. Lineup presented by Lexus. Here comes Ryan Braun, followed by Lind, Davis, and Ramirez. A latter third of Gerardo Parra, Martin Maldonado, and Jimmy Nelson. Reds lead 1-0, 1 on, 1 out, bottom of inning number 1. Ryan Braun has swung the bat well in this series. Big swing on the first pitch there. In the opener, he had a home run, accounting for their only run in the 9th inning. Although he lined out twice in that game. Had 2 hits, an RBI, and 2 lineouts last night, just missing a home run. A game last night, 16-10 Reds. 16 runs, the Reds' highest in a game, going all the way back to 2007 in Seattle. The combined score set a new record for the highest scoring game ever between the Reds and the Brewers. The prior high was 21 runs all the way back in 2005. Hammered that one off his front leg. And Braun trying to walk out in the bite.
Well, there's no secret as to how you'd like to pitch Ryan Braun if you can get command enough of your fastball to get it in there. He just missed with the fastball in off the plate previous pitch. That one he threw it where he wanted to, and Braun really could do nothing with it. I mean, even if he is able to hit that ball closer to the foul line, it's going to be foul anyhow. Right in on his hands. Even with that shin protector, that had to hurt.
Appeared to hit him on the inside of the ankle. 1-2 now on Braun. And a balk has been called on Cueto.
Yep. Saying he buckled his knee before he threw to first base. Cueto is widely known as having one of the best, if not the best, right-handed pickoff moves in all of baseball. Take another look. The umpire is going to make the call and point to his knee, which Johnny buckled his knee. And he brings it up. That's Angel Hernandez. He says he brought his knee up and then threw over to first base. I'm not so sure I saw that in real time. That's awfully tough to pick up. Really tough to pick up.
Comes right back with a 94-mile-per-hour fastball to strike out Braun. 2 out in the inning. The Reds on defense. Presented by Ford. Same group we saw last night. pound out 16 runs and 13 hits. Really overshadowed in that offensive barrage with some outstanding defense again played by the Reds. Joey Votto especially over at first base. Adam Lind with 6 runs batted in, a team high for the Brewers, and make it 7. He just dribbles one right back up through the middle. Lind has already had 3 of those kinds of base hits in this series. Just a jam shot roller.
All set up by the balk. If you're wondering, Johnny Cueto had 1 balk last year, did not make a balk at all in 2013. And this is obviously his first for 2015.
So 1-1 game. Brewers get that run right back. And their first inning continues for Chris Davis. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Nationals have stormed back from trailing 5-1 against John Lackey. That game in the 4th inning, it's 5 apiece. In the air over by the Brewers' first base side dugout, it will fade out of play. Pirates in the 4th inning in front of the Cubs. Cubs have won the first 2 games of that series. That's a 4-gamer like this one is. We will see the Cubbies beginning on Friday night. Big weekend at Great American Ballpark.
And the Brewers will host the Cardinals. Johnny wondering where that last pitch was. It was a slider that he tried to throw at the hitter and then have come back over the plate. Our Fox Tracks had it as a strike.
Straight up in the air. Left center field. Room for Billy Hamilton waving off Marlon Byrd. A walk, a balk, and a 2-out single. Ties this game at 1 apiece. Take a look at their prior 8 games before landing in Milwaukee. 19 total runs and only 1 win. 22 in 2 wins here. 1-1 game. We begin the second inning.
That is bread and butter right there. If you're a right-handed pitcher, big, high, tall guy with a high arm angle like Jimmy Nelson, you work a two-seamer down and you try to make the hitter elevated. And the one thing that is really missing in the arsenal of Jimmy Nelson right now, being 25 years old, just came up last year to the major leagues, is something off speed that goes away from left-handers. So Jay Bruce doesn't have to worry about that. It's either hard fastball or something coming into it. Like that. And that takes a lot of worry away for a left-handed hitter. So you can be very aggressive on pitches that are on the outer part of the plate, knowing you're not going to chase something off the dish that's off speed. Unless he drops that little hammer of a curveball on you.
Jay Bruce gone swinging to begin the inning, and Marlon Byrd coming up. Marlon in his first 49 at bats is a Red, 6 base hits. Has 4 runs batted in. Right through that fastball right by him, and that had some giddy up on it at 95 miles per hour. 0-2 to Marlon Byrd.
Marlon probably seems like every time he turns around, he's looking at an 0-2 count.
One ball and 2 strikes. One down, nobody on in the second inning of a 1-1 game, and Nelson delivers. 2 away.
I got a breaking ball hanging, but it was hanging up there too high for Marlon Byrd to get anything on. Got to be frustrating, you know, when you're seeing your team score 16 runs. He did drive a run in last night, Marlon Byrd did, but I mean, when everybody else is going off with home runs and multi-hit games, and you seem like the one guy that didn't get the invite to the party, and it's been like that. He's a veteran. He's been around a long time. I think he's with his 8th or 9th different ball club. And he figures he's going to get the train back on the track eventually.
Ryan Pena trying to bunt his way on behind a strike. Pena's had a nice series. Tapper this time by the mound. Herrera will throw him out, and the Reds are gone in order against Nelson in the second. It's a 1-1 game in Milwaukee. night will celebrate the 25th reunion of the 1990 World Series champions. All fans in attendance receive a commemorative print. As many as 30 members of that team, including Larkin, Sabo, Davis, will be honored post-game on the field before the big fireworks show. They'll be honored prior to the game on Saturday. 381-REDS, a number to dial for tickets. So come on down to the ballpark. Friday night's supposed to be a beautiful night. Aramis Ramirez. Now here is one guy. I don't know if he's the best, but he is among the best against Johnny Cueto. Of course, they've locked up their entire careers against one another. Cueto's pitched his whole career in the National League Central, and Ramirez has played his entire career in the National League Central. Look at those numbers. 5 home runs, better than a .350 batter. Quick pitch to Ramacer. And Brandon Phillips going out to get it, sandwiched in between Votto and Bruce.
We've seen Johnny do this, and we remark on it from time to time. You know, he's got that long, deliberate, big, twisty, turning motion most of the time. And then every once in a while, he'll just step and throw. And if pitching is about upsetting timing, that's got to be a factor in that, especially when you still have pinpoint control and can throw it low to mid-90s.
Gerardo Parra looks at a breaking ball low and in. Parra playing pretty regularly. Was not in the lineup last night, but we'll see most of the playing time in center field while Carlos Gomez, their all-star, is on the disabled list, and he bangs that one into center field. A base hit, second hit tonight for the Brewers.
Well, the Brewers are in that position that the Reds were in last year an awful lot, with guys on the disabled list, and not just players on the DL. Their main guys are on the DL. In fact, if you're strong up the middle and then you lose your catcher, starting catcher to the DL, you lose your second baseman, and then you lose your center fielder, it weakens your ball club big time, and that's what Ron Renicky is watching here in Milwaukee.
Martin Maldonado is filling in for the aforementioned Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate. He broke his toe on a foul ball here on Monday night while catching. It was a foul tip from a Reds batter that ricocheted right off his big toe and broke it.
In fact, it was Zach Cozart that hit it the pitch before Zach Cozart hit a 3-run home run. Lucroy tried to stay in the ball game, eventually came out after grounding out and barely being able to run to first base. Tell you one thing, Angel Hernandez has really got his eyeballs on Johnny Cueto. He called a balk on him last inning. And sometimes umpires get into that balking mood. Big lead.
Well, a number of years ago, of course, they had that as a point of emphasis. Here's a foul tip that broke the toe, the left big toe of Lucroy on that foul ball from Cozart.
And there, here he is running down the line, and you can see that he is in some kind of pain.
We just started, remember a number of years ago when it was a point of emphasis for Major League Baseball and the umpires to pay more attention to calling balks. And an umpire earned the nickname Balkin Bob Davidson that year, because he called so many of them.
Well, there are a couple of different ways a right-hander can get an advantage over a runner in a balk move. One is to flinch his left shoulder in a little bit towards third base and then throw to first base. and then the other is to break his knee a little bit. I mean, pick his knee up a little bit, his left knee, as if he's going to the plate, and then go to first base. And that's what Cueto is called for first time out.
Fly ball to right will send Bruce to the warning track. Maldonado retired for the second out of the inning. Carr at first, and the pitcher coming up. Nelson 0 for 4 as a batter. He got his first hit last year against a guy who wound up being the National League's Rookie of the Year, Jacob deGrom of the New York Mets. He had started his pro career, talking about the minor leagues and everything, 0 for 66. And that's a second ball called on Cueto.
Well, there's got to be a level of frustration now on Johnny Cueto and Brian Price. Now, Brian Price, as a manager, is not allowed to go out and argue a balk. That's a rule. But as I mentioned, umpires get into a balking mood. And did he move his left knee before he went to first base? Now, I don't see it. That's happening so fast. I got to figure that that's something that Angel Hernandez has been looking for, because it's so subtle that if you're casually watching the pitcher, you're not picking that up. I got to guarantee one thing: Brian Price, Jeff Pico, Johnny Cueto will all be at the video monitor after this game, maybe even in between innings, to check it out and see what exactly he's doing. What you don't want to have happen is get it in Johnny Cueto's head.
I mean, he's earned a balk now, according to Hernandez, in each of the first 2 innings. I don't know how in the world, if we're on the pace we're on tonight, it doesn't get into your head.
I mean, here's a guy that's thrown to first base as well as any right-handed pitcher around over the last 4 years, and has been called for 1 balk in the last 3 years. And now he gets 2 in 2 innings. That's the one of the rules in baseball that is still a little bit subjective, because it happens so quick. I mean, it is black and white according to the rule book and the way they describe it. But when you're seeing it happen in real time from 60 feet away, you got to have really good eyes.
1-2 on Nelson. Struck him out. I want to ask you a question about that when we return. End of 2, a 1-1 game.
In 2 innings so far, there's Angel Hernandez peering at him. This is the first balk that he was called on. And keep a close eye on his left knee right there. This is what Hernandez says, is that he broke that knee, meaning he broke it down before he threw to first base. That's a little bit of a cheap move. You can also do it with your left knee, where you kind of bring your left knee in like you're going to make a pitch to the plate. And I think that's what he called on the other one, too, is that he just left his knee. He's saying that Johnny Cueto is bringing his left knee up like he's making a move to the plate, but he's coming to first base. And it is a very subtle move. It is a very quick move, very difficult to pick up. And Cueto, for the first time in years, has been victim of a balk call.
Zach Kozar, 3 home runs in the first 2 games of this series. 2 of them coming in the 16-run outburst last night. Behind Nelson, 0-2 in this 1-1 game. Johnny Cueto will follow, then back to Billy Hamilton. On the appeal down to first, Angel Hernandez rings up Kozar, and that's strikeout number 3 in the game for the Brewers right-hander. Johnny 0 for 4 as a batter so far this year. He'll get a chance to swing away here. He has a pair of sacrifices and looks at a fastball that comes all the way to the backstop. Ball 1. Reds a run in the first. The Brewers a run in the first. Three balls and no strikes. Nelson has had very good control the early part of this season. 12 innings pitched, only 2 walks. He has not walked a batter so far tonight. 3-0 on Johnny. Borderline strike there, but a strike nonetheless, and it's 3-1. Cueto up there making him work, if nothing else. 3 straight balls, 2 straight strikes. How will the verdict be reached here on this upcoming pitch? Nelson turns it loose. He'll have to earn it with another one. In play of the second baseman Herrera. 7 in a row retired now by Jimmy Nelson. Well, a reminder coming up later on. Our Miller Time moment is brought to you by Miller Lite. We've had a lot to choose from over the first 2 games of this series. Willie Peralta was lights out in the early going here on Monday night. It was a 0-0 game until the Reds came up with 4 runs in the 6th inning, highlighted by a Kozar 3-run home run. Votto followed with a 2-run shot to chase Peralta the following inning. And all Anthony DeSclafani did was twirl 8 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball to go to 2-0 on the year. Hamilton singled. Stole a base, scored a run on the Votto base hit in the first inning. Pretty nice breaking ball right there to get ahead 0-2.
I think that's the one that he worked on over the winter and really just came up with on his own. He had been studying the way that Adam Wainwright has been throwing his breaking ball, a very similar spiked curveball, and decided to mess with it. And here's a guy that is going to mess with his breaking ball after being voted last year in the Pacific Coast League as having the best slider in the league. Well, if I can have the best slider in the league, maybe I have a pretty good curveball. The old adage about having 2 speeds on your curve. That goes way back into the 40s and 50s. Of course, nowadays they call that faster curveball a slider. And most pitchers have both. If they don't have both by the time they make the major leagues, they had a bet one time or another, and oftentimes it blends into the same pitch. And there's really not a lot of speed difference between the 2 pitches that Nelson throws.
One ball, 2 strikes on Billy. And the count even up at 2-2. Well, the way Votto's going right now, you'd love to have him get a chance to come to the plate at any time in a game. See if Billy can make sure that happens here in the third of a 1-1 game. Payoff pitch to a second consecutive hitter. And Hamilton draws a 2-out walk. Walk number 1 in the game tonight by Nelson. And here's Votto. How about that? 5 walks. Took him 13 games to do it so far this year, 32 games to reach that number a season ago. Whereas it was a month of June where Hamilton really took off. He hit .327 in that month, and that's where the Reds, propelled by Hamilton, went 18-8 over a stretch in June to pull within a game and a half of the division lead. But they open the second half of the season with a 7-game losing streak. Injuries mounted, and that was pretty much it.
You know, it's funny how the mind works, because in the pregame meeting, every pitcher is told the one rule about the Reds: do not walk Billy Hamilton. The second rule about the Reds, same as the first rule. But so a pitcher stands out there, you think, okay, all I got to do is throw strikes. I got to throw strikes right here. And pretty soon that strike zone starts to shrink and shrink and shrink. And you run the count to 3 balls, and you're thinking, man, I just got to throw a strike. So instead of being aggressive looking for a certain part of the strike zone, you're just throwing it in there. And you end up walking them. And that would be doubly true with Joey Votto, as hot as he is, standing in the on-deck circle.
Don't know on a 2-0 count if Hamilton's running here or not. He is. And Joey shoots one down the left field line. Davis had him played there. Can you believe that? Votto can't believe it.
Park, the newest addition to Miller Park, of course, none other than a bratwurst. This is the down Wisconsin Avenue, I should say, bratwurst. It is 18 inches long. It is the size of 4 baseballs stacked beside each other. It has gravy, shoestring fries, cheese curds, sauerkraut, cheese sauce, fried jalapenos, sour cream, chives, and, of course, bratwurst. This bad boy was $20. Tom and Chris, but they know how to do their brats here in Wisconsin.
And Marlon Byrd knows how to play some defense in the outfield.
Boy, he's made some really good plays.
That is a tremendous play right there by Marlon Byrd.
Well, a sinking line drive, and he picks that ball, gets his webbing of the glove underneath it before it hits the ground. That's a good job by Byrd.
You know, and Bird's a guy who, if you watch during batting practice, he works a lot during BP on his defense. He'll go to his position of left field, and he will run down for about 5 or 10 minutes. He will run down balls in the outfield and try to go get them. You infrequently anymore see any outfielders long toss. Bird does it 2-3 times a week to work on his throwing arm. So he might not be hitting, but that old adage about, you know, he's not carrying his bat out into left field certainly holds true. Two-hopper down to Frazier.
Well, that's one thing that Brian Pena made an observation about this ball club, is that the defense doesn't take a day off. They throw some leather on you.
Yeah, getting back to that, I want to talk about that a minute.
That what was it, a Polish sausage or a bratwurst?
Brat.
A brat.
Wisconsin Avenue brat.
18 inches is an inch wider than home plate. So put that in perspective.
This thing is unbelievable. When I was walking
Did you try any of it, Jim, or not?
I haven't tried it yet,
okay,
but I'm walking through the concourse, and it was as if I was parting the Red Sea. These people were like, wow, look at that.
You know what, though? They can dress up all that stuff, and it's cool to look at. But at the end of the day, you soak those brats in a little beer overnight. You get the grill going, and you throw those babies on there. It doesn't get any better than that. Just the simple, beer-drenched and soaked bratwurst.
You a sauerkraut guy?
No.
I had you definitely for a sauerkraut guy.
No. I don't mind it.
Mustard?
Oh, yeah. What about you?
Hot sauce?
No, just
jalapenos?
And they have a special mustard they make here in Wisconsin. I can't remember the name of it. They have it back here in the dining room. And the bun, the brat, the mustard. Coops is what it's called. Simple, but still so elegant. It is from the very heartland of America. And Jim Day, when he finishes that, will be as wide as the heartland of America. On Fox Sports Ohio, you win great sports experiences. Lunch with Brian Pena, an autographed jersey, $500 cash card. Text April in Ohio to 733-733. Message and data rates may apply. Todd Frazier trying to pull a little sneak attack and lay one down to start the inning of this 1-1 game in the fourth. Rolls it foul. Frazier bounced into a double play that started with a comebacker to the mound. His only time up. Breaking ball away from Todd. 2 balls and a strike. He'll be followed in the Reds' fourth inning by Brandon Phillipson and Jay Bruce. Reds are running the first. They had back-to-back hits to start the game against Nelson, producing a run. They've only had 1 base runner since. That was a 2-out walk to Billy in the third. 3-1. And we saw signs for the first time in this game in that third of a little bit of wildness from Nelson. Went 3-2 on Cueto, walked Hamilton, and now 3 balls and a strike on Frazier. And he walked him.
Yeah, you really wonder, Tom, after watching a game last night, I'm not even sure if the pitchers before the night they pitched chart anymore. I think they probably have interns to do that for them. But you watch the number of runs that the Reds put on the board, the home runs that they hit, 7 of them last night, and that's got to be a little unnerving for the guy that is going to be on the hill the next night.
What did charting do for you when you used to do it?
Not a thing. Taught me how to keep score in a legible way. Because you have to keep score, chart pitches, so that your pitching coach could read it. That's what it taught me mostly.
And for people at home, when you say chart pitches, define what that means.
Well, you have a regular scorebook, but in each square where a batter would come up, you have a number of little squares, maybe 6 or 7 little squares, and every time you throw a ball, you write ball, and then you throw a strike, and the next pitch would be a strike, and what the pitch was. 1 for fastball, 2 for curve, 3 for slider, 4 for changeup, and so on. And I don't mean to just discount it like that, because what it does do is make you watch the ball game. But I think you're even better served sitting next to your catcher or someone who knows a little bit about it, and you're watching the hitters rather than watching where the pitch was. I want to see how hitters react to certain pitches.
Double play ball here. Nothing to that.
Well, Brandon has hit the ball hard a couple of times. Once was a fly ball. He just got under it. That ball was a rocket shot.
Well, we remind you, MLB.TV Premium gives you the chance to watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. 2 down, none on, 1-1 game in the fourth. And here is Jay Bruce.
I'll get back to charting for a second. Take Jimmy Nelson versus Mike Fiers, who pitched last night. Completely different style of pitching. Nelson is a hard two-seam fastball guy, likes to keep things down around the knees. Mike Fiers is a overhand 4-seam pitcher that throws it around the letters. So watching Fiers pitch, Nelson isn't really learning anything from his approach, but he should be watching where the hitters are. Where do they stride? Who's flying open? Who's trying to hit the ball the other way? What are their tendencies in certain counts as far as maybe laying a bunt down or choking up on the bat? Things like that. And if you're too busy putting a legible chart together, you don't have time to look at that stuff. There are a lot of coaches out there that hate me right now.
Hang with them. One ball and 2 strikes on Bruce. And it looked like he went. No on the appeal to Ted Barrett. I mean, look, coaches are guys, if they're good coaches, they're coaches that want to learn from people and be open to other ideas. That's why it was so fascinating reading some of the articles about Mike Krzyzewski. Was his team winning his 5th national championship? He's coached the professionals to 2 gold medals. And those around him talk about how he's always opening his mind to learning something new. Everything that you just proposed, if I'm a coach, would convince me I'm wasting my time charting. Local Ford dealer, Ford Go Further. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on the U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospitals in America. And we welcome those of you that perhaps are watching tonight from over at Cincinnati Children's, wherever it is you're watching tonight. Thanks for being with us here on Fox Sports Ohio and our coverage of Reds baseball. A 1-1 game as the Brewers bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Adam Lind knocked in the Brewers run in that opening inning with a 2-out single, and he hit it where Zach Cozart is playing right now. They couldn't play this dramatic of a shift when Lind was up there in the 1st inning because there was a runner at second base. A runner which, by the way, drew a 1-out walk. And Johnny Cueto was called for a balk in the 1st inning, called for another balk in the 2nd inning. Down the line and hooking foul. One and two on Lind. Cueto a 1-2-3 third. Johnny, 1 balk called against him in 2 years. 2 in 3 years. And Angel Hernandez gets him twice in 2 innings.
You know, and if you look just simply at the rules of baseball around the box, especially box of right-handers, they're not really all that specific. So umpires along the way have been coached and taught what to look for and what the cheat move may be for certain pitchers. And if you make any move that is not naturally and that is associated with your normal delivery to the plate and do not deliver a pitch to the plate. And most guys ought to know it. It's Rule 8.05A. And when you make any motion that is naturally associated with a pitch and then you don't deliver a pitch. So that's what happens when you make a motion like you're beginning your delivery to the plate and then throw to first base. That's the interpretation of the law. But it's one of those things that when it's that quick, by like Cueto standards, you've got to be looking for it to see it. Lynn was born in Muncie, raised in Anderson, Indiana.
Good town, Muncie, Indiana.
Ended up going to South Alabama. There he was drafted and taken by the Toronto Blue Jays, where he spent his entire career until this year. Here he is playing first base for the Brewers.
Ninth pitch of this at bat. And Cueto strikes him out swinging. 3 of those in the game now by Johnny.
Took something off this one, Cueto did.
Muncie, Indiana is one of the great stops on the Reds' winter caravan. I know you've been there a number of times, Chris. Huge turnout there. Nearby, Ball State University, the home of your good friend and mine, Mr. Zach Bonkowski.
That has to be one of the most, I guess, outlying areas of Reds country in the Northwest Territory of Reds country. Now, that's way up there.
It is. But, man, it's a great stop.
And they love the Reds up there.
It's a fun place to stop there. We always end up spending a night there in Muncie, Indiana. Right there on campus. Fastball spins Chris Davis out of the way. Davis a fly ball to the warning track in center field. Two balls and a strike. You know, speaking of Zach Bonkowski, he was very close friends of Terry Ramstetter. And certainly all of us from the Reds would like to send out our deepest condolences to the Ramstetter family and friends at Prestige AV. The sudden passing of Terry last week. Cozart to the glove side, throws out Davis, 2 gone, 7 straight now retired by Johnny.
Looks like Johnny's determined not to put himself in a position to be called for another ball.
It's the only way to make sure that won't happen, because they don't call the ball, there ain't nobody on.
If they do, they'll cost you only a ball and not a base.
Strike 1 to Aramis Ramirez. Jam shot floater into right. Bruce is there. Back-to-back perfect innings for Johnny Cueto. Bird to lead it off in the 5th of a 1-1 game.
in the game. It was only the 4th time in Major League Baseball that it has happened. And can you believe our own Billy Hatcher has been a part of half of those? Back in 1987, he was playing for the Astros and actually hit one of the 3 grand slams in that game versus the Cubs. After the game last night, they told him, hey, Billy, it's only happened 4 times, and you have been involved in half of those. And he said, I must be special, in a pure Billy Hatcher moment. It was quite the show last night, and Billy was taken back to his playing days.
And if I'm not mistaken, he clubbed that grand slam off of one of the really good pitchers during that era in Major League Baseball, Rick Sutcliffe. Tell you what, man, when Billy Hatcher got his chance on the big stage in baseball during his career, meaning the postseason, talk about a guy that delivered the goods now. I mean, a lot of guys, you don't get a lot of chances. And Billy only got 2. 2 times in all the years he played in the big leagues did he play in the postseason. And both times was spectacular. High fly ball. Little chase drawn to the warning track, and Bird retired. Remember in the 1986 National League Championship Series, he had one of the most dramatic postseason home runs ever. It was in the 14th inning of Game 6 against the New York Mets against Jesse Orosco, which tied the game in the 14th inning. The Mets eventually won that game. And then we all know what he did with the Reds. In the LCS in 1990, he had 333, but oh my, when the World Series began, he established World Series records for highest batting average in a 4-game series, most consecutive hits in a series, and most doubles in a 4-game series. All records belonging to that man in his only appearance in a World Series.
And he'll be getting together with his World Series teammates this weekend when the Reds are hosting the Cubs. Saturday, the big day, when they're going to bring all out of those guys back from the 1990
and
team.
Friday night.
And Friday night as well.
Friday night will be after the game, right before the fireworks, once the game is concluded. And Saturday they're going to do it in a pregame ceremony. And there are tickets available, so why not come on down as Pena dribbles one through. I mean, Hatcher was a guy the A's just couldn't get out. And the only way they got him out, you may remember, is when they hit him with a pitch. And he couldn't play the rest of the series.
Look at that, down both lines right there. Batted .750, scored 6 runs in 4 games in that Oakland A's series.
How about that? Cozart, a strikeout victim, his only time up. First pitch breaking ball is up and in. Pena gets a Reds first hit since Votto knocked in their only run, plating Hamilton, who led off the game with a hit in the first inning. Could be the 3rd double play ball of the night. It is. WLW. For the Reds Fan Cam, your chance to answer Reds trivia, win great prizes, maybe be a part of Reds Live. That'll begin at the Holy Grail on the Banks this Friday night, 6 p.m. One run, 3 hits for the Reds. 1 run, 2 hits for the Brewers. Milwaukee's defense has turned 3 double plays behind Nelson. Frazier in the first, Phillips in the fourth, and they just completed top of the 5th on a sharp grounder off the bat of Kozar.
Yeah, 2 of those double play balls were struck very solidly, but right at the fielder.
Yeah, Phillips in that one.
Yeah.
Here's Gerardo Parra. He singled sharply into center field his only time up. Cueto's retired 8 in a row since a base hit by Parra back in the 2nd inning. Cardinals and Nationals tied at 5. Pirates in a 7th. A 4-1 lead over the Cubbies. Parra's always hit Cueto well.
Got a short level swing. Doesn't really try to do too much with it. I think he's one of these left-handers. He's more of a rare type of a lefty that likes the ball up in the zone. And one of the keys that gives that away is watch how he sets up and that bat is flat. And it's almost on the same plane that he needs to get it on. See how flat that bat is? Most lefties like it down and in. Those are the guys that hold that bat really tall. Hold the string on him.
Cueto strikeout number 4. Martin Maldonado, who flied out to right field, is only a bat. Even though Maldonado only made 30 starts last year, Luke Roy, obviously their regular guy, they thought so much of him, and the role that he plays on this team, it's rare to see a backup catcher given a 2-year deal. But they locked up Maldonado during this offseason for a couple of years. The Reds did the same thing, although Ryan Hanigan at the time was still playing a lot of the time. But he was a guy that, had primarily been a backup catcher during his tenure with the Reds while they were waiting on Mesoraco to reach a major league. Hanigan always one of our favorites.
Kind of a self-made man.
Really is.
I mean, never got drafted. Signed out of a tryout camp. Went to Rollins College. Not exactly a baseball powerhouse. But he just learned how to catch and handle pitchers and ran a great ball game. And he's still playing.
Hooked in the left field, a 1-out single for the Milwaukee catcher Martin Maldonado. First Brewers base runner since a single by Parra in the 2nd. Following our game tonight right here on Fox Sports Ohio, and after every game, it's Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Ryan Giesenslaw and Jeff Pecoro have been traveling with us this first road trip of the year.
Nice to have him on the road, too.
It is, although it won't last.
Why not?
Because they are redoing the Cincinnati studio of Fox Sports Ohio, and that's where the pregame and postgame shows will emanate when the Reds take to the road through the remainder of the season.
Well, they didn't know that little sausage race that we had in the pregame show, there was a lot on the line, because had one of them come in first, they would have been on the road the rest of the year.
Yep. That's really getting your chance and not delivering. I mean, there's no doubt anyway that Pick and Brian would rather be on the home front with their families.
Good place to be.
The best. I can assure you, with the temperatures here the last couple of days, it was snowing today in Milwaukee. Not complaining, it's just a statement of fact.
Reds are thinking about a double play ball right here if Nelson gets the ball down, because both Frazier and Votto are charging hard. Maldonado's the runner at first. He's a catcher, doesn't run well. That's one way of staying out of that double play.
Tell you one thing, the early part of this baseball season, we have seen the worst bunting that I can remember. There have been at least a dozen times already in the first 2 weeks where we have been watching games where guys have been unable to put down a bunt. And we just left spring training.
And I can guarantee you that they worked on it more in spring training than in years past. And they're still not delivering the goods.
And you know what's interesting is, Chris, and you talk about this all the time, and the numbers are amazing. The drop in offensive production and how all of a sudden, you know, maybe 10, 12 years ago, that sacrifice bunt from a pitcher might not have been a big deal because leadoff hitters were hitting 30 bombs. Now it's a big deal. The inning is over. We're talking about the sausage, or as I like to call it, the sausage race.
God.
Well, there's the victor, Jim Day, celebrating, giving us the Usain Bolt pose at the very end. The question is, did he take unfair advantage? Did he start too soon? And I have to tell you right now, folks, it is under review. And Jim Day may not be celebrating when it comes down to the end of the night.
I just got a call from the Major League office in New York. The call stands. There's not enough video evidence to reverse the call. You guys are just jealous of my mad quickness. Call stands.
Well, in that case, Jim, congratulations, and you win the 18-inch bratwurst with that effort right there.
Well, I mean, he worked up a sweat, and he earned the right to go ahead and knock down that bratwurst.
We're afraid he was going to have to go on the DL after that. What do they call that, Tom, in horse? Is it a steward's review when they...
I don't know. Not a horse racing guy.
Uh-oh, here we go. He's out. I'm sorry, Jim. It has been overruled, and you are out.
Well, I was sitting next to him, and because Jim is so tall, he wasn't trying to cheat. I'm sincere when I say this. But because he's so tall and trying to get, you couldn't adjust those seats. A guy like me, a little guy, I had no problems. But just sitting down and putting his feet on the pedals, it moved his guy just a little bit ahead. He didn't mean to do it. I figured you had the same problem down at the other end, but I wasn't.
I did not, and nor did Brian Gieseslaw, and I think it sounds more and more like a conspiracy now.
I thought Jim went fair and square.
Was he going to split that bratwurst with you? Is that the idea?
No. Hamilton retired for the first time tonight. Jim, pardon me for interrupting. You were saying?
Well, I don't think it would make a difference if we go back and look at the finish. I pretty much dusted the field.
You did. I agree.
I'm not sure that the start had anything to do with the outcome. However, the umpire said, I'm out. I'm out.
I don't like the call. I think you were the winner.
You got to go with the guys in blue. Hang with them, Jim. See you next time. I think next time he gets to eat the 18-inch bratwurst and then does the race.
Good idea. The real one. 0-1 to Joey Votto in this 1-1 game in the 6th inning. Reds with 3 hits. Brewers with 3 hits. 0-2 to Joey.
Pretty good looking breaking ball there.
The only walk Cueto issued came in the 1st inning to the 2nd batter, and that's the only run the Brewers have scored. Nelson, meanwhile, has walked 2. And the Reds' lone run came in the 1st. In the air, left center field, Davis at the track. And that will end the inning. Reds gone in order. Still tied at 1. Into the 1990 wire-to-wire World Series champion Reds. It starts Friday night. 30 of the championship team members will be honored after the game on the field before the spectacular fireworks show. Saturday before the game, 381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or Reds.com/tickets for details. Herrera, first pitch swinging. And that's an out. Well, they just had the real sausage races, and look at this. Rumbling, stumbling, bumbling.
Was that the Polish cheating again? I thought he may have tripped him.
There is controversy. There is controversy. Look at the fans immediately pointing at foul play. Tell you what. There's a weak fly ball off the bat of Ryan Braun, and very quickly into this 6th inning, Cueto's retired the front 2 with Lynn coming up. Lynn has had the best at bats against Cueto tonight. He had the run scoring single, didn't hit it hard, but a run scoring single nonetheless in the 1st inning, and then had a 10 pitch at bat against him in the 4th before Cueto finally struck him out. Every batter, as we're moving further and further into this one, becomes so important. Strike 1 to Lynn. Another game where Cueto is spectacular. Another game where Cueto has received virtually 0 support behind him. 1 run. And this will be all for the Brewers. 1, 2, 3 through the heart of the order. We're off to the 7th. 3, 4, and 5 coming up. On a busy night around Major League Baseball. The latest on the NFL suspension of Greg Hardy. And Oklahoma City fires its coach. Cruel world. Coming up tonight on Fox Sports 1. Or see it simulcast right here on Fox Sports Ohio following Reds Live. All right, let's see if the Reds can break through against Nelson. Each team with a run, each team with 3 hits. Todd Frazier quickly down, strike 1. Frazier grounded into a double play in the 1st inning on a comebacker to the mound. And then Todd walked, leading off the 4th. Brewers defense has turned 3 double plays behind Nelson tonight. The 1st, the 4th, and the 5th. 0-2 to Frazier. That's a fair ball. And Ramirez still has plenty of arm.
Now, that was an Achilles heel for the Brewers last night. Had a young man named Jason Rogers playing over there at third base, threw a ball away with 2 outs, and eventually led to an opportunity for the Reds to take advantage. And they did with a grand slam home run, which really got the Reds offense going. Ron Renicke's tried a lot to break this horrible losing streak that the Brewers have started on the beginning of their season.
They are 1-7 at home, where they have been great for a number of years now. They are 1-5 on the road. It adds up to a franchise worst start at 2-12.
I mean, it's tough. You come out to the ballpark and just to keep your chin up, because people are asking the same questions, the reporters, media, every day. What are you going to do different today? What can a manager do to stop this losing skid?
Brandon, a fly ball to short right field. Braun coming a long way. And just like that, Frazier and Phillips retired quickly by Nelson here in the 7th.
Looks a lot like the top of the bottom of the 6th, when Johnny Cueto went right through the middle of the order on about 6 pitches. You can see why they like Jimmy Nelson. Got a repeatable delivery. He's got a nice breaking ball, and when he figures out a way to mix a changeup into that pit repertoire of his, he's even going to be better. He's had some easy innings there.
Boy, look at the last 2 prior to this 7th. A 9-pitch inning, a 7-pitch inning.
That comes from throwing strikes.
Well, you know what's interesting is we talked about, he showed signs here in the 3rd of getting a little wild. 3-ball count on Cueto, walked Billy Hamilton. Todd Frazier walked to begin the next inning. The following inning is when all of a sudden those 7 and 9 started showing up. And he's had Bruce around the neck twice tonight. Nelson, as we brought up earlier, he has shown really good control the early part of this year. 2 walks tonight, only 4 in his first 19 innings. That's the 3rd time Bruce has struck out tonight. We're still tied at 1. Cueto, bottom of the 7th inning here in Milwaukee's Miller Park. Well, when Johnny Cueto comes to Milwaukee, the Reds average 2 runs per game behind him. Fractionally better than that in D.C. Less than that in Los Angeles. Less than a single run in Atlanta.
On the year, the Reds have averaged 1.7 runs while Johnny Cueto's on the mound. That's about to go down if they can't find some more offense here tonight.
Cueto's spot is due up 4th.
Now, really, to be fair, to Johnny Cueto in this ballpark. We talked about it at the very onset of the game, Tom. And he has not pitched here since August of 2012. And he's made 58 starts in the major leagues between the time he last pitched here and tonight. So he's 0-3 here, but there's a reason why, because he hasn't pitched here very often.
That's good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Mr. Davis. 6 strikeouts for Cueto.
Pitching down and away. You see where that grouping of pitches are right down here for Johnny Cueto against Davis. There's a young man that's got plenty of power, but he wants it on middle and middle in. Stay away from that spot. You've got a chance to get him out.
Here's Aramis Ramirez, who through his career has been a real thorn in the side of Cueto. Tonight a pop-up to Phillips and a fly ball to right.
What a great pitch. I mean, a first pitch changeup. He is so sold that that is a fastball. Screws himself into the ground.
How about that pitch? That's an unhittable pitch. Or if you make contact, it's off your shin.
It's the only time you can be happy about a whiff.
Yeah. Came back inside to Ramirez and misses 2 balls and 2 strikes.
When you think of lack of run support for Johnny Cueto, lack of wins after pitching quality games is one thing, but also the stress of pitching in games in which you are right up against a wall every inning. One bad pitch can cost you the game. I mean, if you give him a 4-run lead, he's out there just cruising right along, not worrying about it, giving up a first pitch home run with nobody on base. But you can't do that here in a 1-run game or a tie game.
A little bleeder, can you believe that? Wow. And even Ramirez.
Well, he's hit the ball to right field each time up. He had a pop up to the second baseman his very first time. That was a bleeder, but it was caught. This time, nice little 60-degree wedge. A little overspin on it.
This will be the 91st pitch of the game. 1 out, 1 on. 1-1 game in the 7th inning. And here's Parra, who was singled to center field and struck out. And Cueto comes right after him with a first pitch fastball to get ahead. Angel Hernandez has already called Cueto for a pair of balks in this game tonight. The first inning and the second inning.
Well, with Aramis Ramirez at first base, there's no really reason even to do anything except throw the ball to the plate. You just wonder, though. I mean, looking ahead, will this be something other umpire crews pick up on?
It's a very good question. I mean, you just watch Angel Hernandez. And again, there is no insinuation of anything here, because we sit here and watch games every night, and maybe that is all the first base umpire is doing, is staring at the pitcher, looking out for a ball.
That is what he's supposed to do, absolutely.
Right. But I mean, he is dialed in. Just off the corner, 2-2.
Tough pitch to take there.
Well, the two guys in this lineup that have had the most success against Cueto, the guy standing in first who had a little blooper for a base hit, and the guy up there right now. 2-2 pitch. Straight up in the air. Boy, he didn't miss it by much, and Parra slams his back to the ground in frustration. He knew it. That was the pitch that he wanted, and he just fractionally missed it.
Cueto in this inning has got a little extra mustard on the ball. His fastball's at 94 instead of 92. And Parra, a good high ball hitter, got underneath it. Big old hang with him there.
They always like the fire that Parra played with, watching him with the Diamondbacks.
I've always liked him as a player.
So I'm with you.
Never really had as good offensive years as I thought that he would, but he does have fire.
Swinging a foul ball back. It's a big swing right there by Maldonado. Now this is a guy tonight who has hit the ball very hard twice against Cueto. And Cueto's really worked over the front three hitters in the lineup outside of the walk to Herrera in the first inning. These guys at the bottom have had some good swings. Parra and Maldonado especially. Johnny jumps ahead at 0-2. Straightaway center field, and Hamilton will back up, and that's all for the Brewers. They get a single by Ramirez. We're off to the 8th in a 1-1 duel. Single, stole a base, raced home on a single by Votto. Two batters into this thing. It's 1-0. But the Brewers, after a walk and a balk, get a roller into center field off the bat of Lind to tie the game at 1. No more scoring. Ever since then, it has been Nelson for the Brewers and Johnny for the Redlegs. Now the Reds have Jumbo Diaz right now up and throwing in their bullpen. Cueto's spot is due up 4th here in the 8th inning. Marlon Byrd is due. He'll be followed by Pena and then Cozart. Byrd is struck out and popped up to right.
Well, right now this is deeper than any game Jimmy Nelson has ever pitched in the major leagues. He has gone 7 innings tops. in all the best of his starts.
And I'll tell you what, he's getting a lot of quick outs here over the last 4 innings. We showed you in the fifth, 7 pitches. He had a 9-pitch inning after that. I'm not sure he hit 10 pitches in the last half inning.
He has just completely overwhelmed Jay Bruce and Marlon Byrd tonight.
Great crowd here on this Wednesday night tonight. 30,452. Here's Brian Pena, 1 of 2.
You save on the heating bill at home when you come to the ballpark here in Milwaukee in April.
Yes, you do. But you have to go back to that home.
Turn your furnace off and hope that when you get home it's springtime.
Well, they are talking about, I mean, like real snow tonight.
Like the sticks on the ground?
Yes. Two and one on Pena. The Brewers have action in their bullpen. Jonathan Broxton was up before this inning began. He is ready to go. And also down there standing alongside him, the left-hander Will Smith. That ball is hit hard in the deep left center field. Parra drifting back to the wall, and he's got it. Parra, a Gold Glove winning outfielder in Arizona. We invite you to be a part of the Major League Baseball All-Star action this summer in Cincinnati. Just visit the T-Mobile All-Star Fan Fest. It's the world's largest interactive baseball theme park. That'll be over at the Duke Energy Convention Center, June 10th through, or July 10th through July the 14th. And you can get tickets now. Log on to allstargame.com. 2 down for Kozar.
You know, Brian Pena told me before the ball game tonight that he has lost close to 13 pounds since spring training.
Wow.
Since leaving spring training. As Jess says, he feels so much better. And I'll tell you, he is swinging the bat.
Yes, he is. He's had a very good series. And he's playing every day now with Mesoraco still unable to go. And Mesoraco made the comments that he's going to be pinch hitting for a little while. So in essence, they have Devin Mesoraco on the Major League club, at least for right now, to pinch hit. Kozart with 3 home runs in this series. 3-run blast on Monday night. A 2-run homer, a solo homer, 3 hits in a game last night. 2-1 to Zach Kozart with 2 down and none on in the 8th. Shallow center field, and the shortstop Segura. An easy inning. Well, this guy's dominating. 10 in a row retired.
may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
1 run, 3 hits for the Reds. 1 run, 4 hits for Milwaukee. The Brewers have Logan Schaefer batting for their pitcher Jimmy Nelson, who gives them 8 sensational innings tonight. Cueto's given 7 great ones for the Reds. Schaefer can run. Segura next. And there's a strike.
Are you a little surprised with Schaefer and his ability to run that Joey Votto's playing on the outfield grass at first base? I mean, Schaefer, if you're looking for a base runner, which is hard to come by against Johnny Cueto, you know, I asked this of Reds hitter, why wouldn't he consider laying down a bunt? I mean, it doesn't even need to be a very good one. Now with 2 strikes, it's out of the question. But, I mean, he stands up there. This guy's no home run hitter. And he had all this area here to lay one down. If you get it in that spot, it's an easy bag. They all want to take their chances against one of the best pitchers in baseball. Maybe I did give hitters too much credit.
Pulled foul.
I mean, there's no room down there between Votto and the first baseline. He's guarding the line to protect against the double.
Nelson, his last 4 innings on the mound, threw a total of 36 pitches in 4 innings. 9, 7, 10, 10. The pitch counts in the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Trouble here.
Well, maybe that's why he didn't lay one down.
An easy double. And that's a go-ahead run here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Logan Schaefer, a pinch hit double on a 2-2 pitch.
So you got to ask yourself now if you're Brian Price. Johnny Cueto is a warrior. He is by far your best pitcher. He's had rotten luck as far as run support. And for the first time in many innings, the Brewers have been able to get anybody on base, much less in scoring position. Is there a time in this inning that you're going to make a move, or are you just hanging with Cueto the entire time? That's a tough decision.
They come right back. Cueto, boy, he came springing off the mound. But Jim Day made reference in the game here last night how the grass is a lot deeper, a lot thicker than it's been in the past. And it really just gobbled that thing up on the first bounce. So the sacrifice by Segura, and the Brewers have the go-ahead run at 3rd.
I mean, he's thinking about getting that guy at 3rd base, but I can guarantee you that Brian Pena is yelling first, all the way, get the out when you can take it. If you're Ron Renicky, are you thinking about a suicide squeeze here?
Herrera has put the ball in play in his 2 official at-bats. He's walked, scored a run, bounced to 3rd, popped up. Fastball up and in, no sign of a bunt on the first pitch, 0-1.
Infield in, I mean way in.
Well, if they try the suicide squeeze, if it goes up the 3rd base line, they get safety squeeze because of where Frazier's trying to keep Schaefer close to the bag.
See how Johnny's added a couple of miles an hour to that fastball? I mean, all night long he's pitching at 92, 91, 93. And now when he needs a little bit more, he's got the ability to reach back and throw it harder. You can count on one hand the number of pitchers in baseball that can do that.
Infield in. 1-1 game, runner at 3rd. Foul tip, came back with a fastball up. And now he's ahead of Herrera at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Herrera choking up a little bit. Cueto has been nothing but 4-seam fastballs up, and the last pitch a 2-seamer. I imagine he's going up the ladder again right here.
And Herrera lays off. Two and two on Herrera. Oh, he got him looking at 94.
No argument from Elian Herrera. This is our Cholula hot sauce flamethrower of the night, right across the upper end of the strike zone with a little bit of hair on it.
One more out to go for Johnny Cueto.
Pitch number 5, strike 3.
Ryan Braun is struck out, grounded to Phillips, and flied out to right. Fastball again at 95, reaching back for extra with a game on the line. It's been on the line all night. Each team scored in its portion of the first inning. Oh, and 2. Did he go? Yes, he did. Looked like it.
I mean, he's not messing around at all. And can't wait to throw it plateward again.
This will be the 114th pitch of the game for Johnny Cueto. And that dart's low and away from Braun.
I'll tell you, it's a tough list to compile. You start making a list of those pitchers who, when they want to throw harder, can actually throw harder.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner at third. Fouled off by Braun. One game. Schaefer at third, 2 outs in the 8th. 1 and 2 on Ryan Braun. We'll do it again. What a play by Brian Payne.
Clutch.
That is textbook right there.
I mean, you're smothering it.
All right, here we go. This has been quite a battle. Cueto jumped in front, 0-2. Braun a couple of foul balls. Takes 3 out of the zone. The payoff pitch, Cueto to Braun. Tapper, foul.
Or with a breaking ball.
Ninth pitch in this at-bat coming up. As Cueto Looks for the final out to keep it a 1-1 game here in the 8th inning. Oh, he wanted the call and did not get it. Oh my gosh, Brian Price. Now he's not given a signal. Cueto's up to 120 pitches. You have a left-handed batter in Lynn coming up. Looks like Brian's going to stay with him.
First thing he did is go out there and check with Johnny Cueto. Are you okay still? He went with a little bit of a cutter, I think, on that very last pitch, and just got away from him. You know, you're not going to give in to Ryan Braun, former MVP. Cueto's too smart for that. If he's going to miss, not the end of the world. You can take care of Adam Lynn, who is not quite the hitter in the batter's box that Braun has been over the years.
Oh, but we mentioned Lynn has had some decent swings against Cueto tonight. He had a good swing right there on a good pitch to hit late. Lynn knocked in the Brewers' only run in the 1st inning. Went to a 10-pitch at bat before Cueto struck him out in the 4th. And then he bounced out to Votto in the 6th. 1-1 game. Runners on the corners, 2 outs in the 8th. And it's quickly 0-2. Brian Price making the decision. And I think anybody that's watched the Reds the first 2 weeks of this season understands why Brian Price is staying with Johnny Cueto. Nothing and 2 on Lind. Trying to get him to chase a fastball up. 124 pitches it will be on Cueto's next release of the baseball. But for Cueto, you just always get the feeling it's not a big deal.
We've been conditioned to think that that's excessive. Sure. He's got plenty left.
1-2 on Lind.
I mean, he's got so much adrenaline flowing through his body right now. None of that matters.
Well, like Braun, Cueto got ahead 0-2. He got ahead 0-2 on Lynn.
Well, you get ahead and then you're reluctant to make a mistake in the zone, so you try to expand the zone. And if they don't take at it.
Got him swinging. How about Johnny Cueto? Among the very best in the game today. A runner at 3rd, 1 out in the 8th inning of a 1-1 game. And he leaves that runner stranded. We go off to the 9th. watch this guy become the pitcher that he has become. He is something. After a leadoff double in a 1-1 game, Cueto slams the door. Our Steel Power Tool performers, both starting pitchers, earned it tonight.
Are these the same two teams that put up 26 runs last night?
They are.
7 home runs in a ball game for the Reds.
Cueto now removed for a pinch hitter. It will be Skip Schumacher. Man, can the Reds get Johnny Cueto this victory tonight? And the guy has just been incredible, and he's 0-2 coming into the game.
Well, Johnny Cueto is a poster child for wins don't mean a thing as far as evaluating starting pitchers, or any pitchers really. Wins and losses are probably the worst measure you can make. Francisco Rodriguez, K-Rod, he's their closer. And he'll face Skip Schumacher to start the ninth.
We'll roll over to Billy Hamilton. And then, of course, Joey Votto is due up third. Got out of play on a hanging breaking ball, it looked like there. We saw Rodriguez in the ninth inning in mop-up duty on Monday night. And it was Schumacher who singled off him, leading off that ninth inning. Reds also drew a walk, but he got Frazier on a double play to end a 2-on, 1-out threat. That's strike 3 to Schumacher. No debate about that. Now Billy Hamilton. Hamilton tonight singled, stole a base, scored, drawn a walk, and grounded out. Cardinals finished off the Nationals 7-5. And the Pirates defeat Chicago, the Cubbies, 4-3. And it's interesting to note that Tony Watson saved that game tonight for the Pirates after the Cubs came back to beat Mark Melancon in the game last night, and Melancon off to a woeful start here in 2015. Remember, it was just a year ago that Glenn Hurdle pulled the plug on Jason Grilli as their closer. All of a sudden 3-0 now on Hamilton. No manager would ever do it. You almost wonder if you just don't give Hamilton a take sign 3 pitches in a row, and wonder if Rodriguez would be able to throw 3 strikes in a row before he walked it.
Now he throws a 3-0 fastball, and he's likely to do the same thing right here.
And he walked it. Joey Votto is in the driver's seat, brought to you by Kia. He's reached base safely at least 2 times in each of the last 9 games. He's been on once in 3 trips tonight. Knocked in the Reds' only run all the way back in the first inning with a single. But he has hit the ball hard twice since. Lined out down the left field line and flied out to the warning track in the 6th inning. Hamilton is 9 for 9 in stolen bases, including a stolen base in the first inning tonight. The Reds as a team are perfect on the year. 17 of 17.
Rodriguez has not given up a stolen base yet this year, but last year 7 up, 1 down.
Well, that move is certainly not going to deter Hamilton in any way, shape, or form, if indeed that's his best. Well, 1 to Joey Votto.
You know, one thing really working in the Reds' favor right here is Hamilton's distraction of Rodriguez. I mean, he probably doesn't usually even care about runners at first base, but Hamilton's a different animal over there. You know he's thinking about it. You hang one to Joey Votto and he puts one out of here.
And that's a line into center field. We'll see if Hamilton takes off for third. You better believe it. Here comes a throw by Parra. Not going to be in time. First to third on a single to center field goes Hamilton. And now it's a Reds chance to take the lead with a runner at third and 1 out.
That guy has one tough out. I mean, right back through the box on a line.
And Hamilton might be the only guy in baseball that does this, because that ball was killed.
And Parra's got a great arm.
Yes.
And that ball never even made it to third. It was cut off. That's how quickly Billy got there.
All right, now Frazier. A chance to put the Reds in front and put Cueto in line to get a win. Well, that's a knee-buckling breaking ball there by Rodriguez. Told you, we saw Rodriguez here on Monday night, and he got a double play to get out of trouble. It was Frazier that grounded into the inning-ending double play. On a strike. Hamilton draws a 1-out walk. Votto blisters one to center field, a base hit, sending Hamilton to third, where he is 90 feet away from putting the Reds in front by a run if Frazier can get him home. And this is not going to do it. Out number 2 in the inning. Now the Reds looking for a 2-out single to give them the lead. Brandon Phillips, the batters, hit the ball very hard twice tonight. Nothing to show for it. 0 for 3. Phillips in these situations likes hitting that ball the other way, and he's got that entire infield wide open on that side. Dribbles one foul to the pull side. They get Hamilton home. They have a lead. Cueto a chance for his first win of the year. And that'll rest on the left arm of Aroldis Chapman. Somehow, some way, they've got to get Hamilton to the plate. And that's the way they're going to do it. Here comes Billy. And he's safe. He's safe on a pitch in the dirt. You'll take it any way you can get it, Doctor. And the Reds lead 2-1. I don't know if there's another player in the league that scores on this.
Well, you've got to be thinking about it on every pitch. Jim Riggleman reminding him, hey, this guy throws a lot of breaking balls. He's known for balls in the dirt. And this one gets away from Maldonado. And not even close. Now Rodriguez is being attended to out on the pitcher's mound. He may have jammed his finger, cut himself, whatever it is there, as he was trying to slide in to tag Billy Hamilton. Ron Renicke's thinking, did we just invent another way to lose? Watch his throwing hand.
Well, he's going to stay in the game. Well, there is speed, and then there is speed, and the effect it has, as we have seen in this inning alone, going all the way back to something Chris talked about early in the game. Here's a 1-1 pitch on Phillips. Votto now in scoring position. Straight away center field, and this will end the inning. But you're fearful of walking Hamilton. Rodriguez walked. He went to third on a single to center field, and he scores on a pitch in the dirt. Aroldis Chapman will try and nail it down to give Cueto the win. Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, proud sponsor of the Cincinnati Reds. Get ready for Reds action 30 minutes prior to the start of every game with Reds Live right here on Fox Sports Ohio. It's presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. We take a peek ahead to tomorrow. Reds Live will get underway at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Homer Bailey, his second start since coming off the disabled list. And he'll be opposed by one-time Red, and a slow start for a guy who's been a rock-solid pitcher for a number of years now. That's Kyle Loach.
He has been. The question is this year, the ball, how is it coming out of his hand? That earned run average is an indication he's not fooling a whole lot of people. If you didn't see it, it's over 10. And we'll see him tomorrow. Aroldis Chapman. That earned run average is an indication he's dialing it up around 100 miles per.
Chapman came on last night and struck out all three batters he faced in the game. It starts with Davis. Fastball on the inside corner, a strike. Chapman last night faced Lind, Davis, and Rogers. He'll see Davis, Ramirez, Parra in this ninth inning.
Probably not Parra.
Yeah.
But it may not matter. Because if Chapman is throwing the way he was last night, it was a mismatch, and it looks like the same thing tonight. Although this guy's capable. You throw the ball out over the plate where he can put the bat on the ball. Tremendous power and good bat speed.
And 2-1, Chris Davis. 101 on that fastball. Crowd oohs and ahs every time Chapman comes into a game. Doesn't matter whether it's a Great American Ballpark and if you've seen him 50 times or never seen him before, as is the case frequently on the road.
Well, we've been treated to really some great baseball tonight. But the last inning of Johnny Cueto buckling down, striking out Adam Lind with the go-ahead run in the 9th inning on third base. And then Billy Hamilton scooting around the base paths. Votto hitting a line drive into center field, and now Aroldis Chapman
at 102. 102.
Which, with his arms and legs being as long as they are, that's probably closer to 104 effectively to the hitters at the plate.
This guy just gets bigger and stronger every year. I mean, he has turned into a physically imposing force and presence on that mound. His stuff, obviously, is imposing. The most powerful pitcher on the planet. Ramos Ramirez, 1 for 3 in the game. 1 ball and 1 strike. They have Rogers in the on-deck circle. He was a guy that Chapman struck out to end the game last night.
Chapman's stuck with the fastball last night and tonight. There's a slider.
I think Ramirez is saying, hey, who are you ringing up here? He was just getting warmed up.
Well, Ramos Ramirez says, who are you, Nostradamus?
2-2 on a Ramos Ramirez. Straight up in the air and playable, or is it? Yes, in foul ground for Bruce. And the Reds an out away from giving Johnny Cueto his first victory of this 2015 season. And an out away from their 3rd straight wins. Reds had 16 runs on 13 hits last night. They are trying to win a game 24 hours later with 2 runs and 4 hits. Strike 1 on Jason Rogers, the pinch hitter for Gerardo Parra. Of course, Chapman already with more saves by a Cuban-born pitcher than anyone in the history of the game. Tonight would be, if he can get this final out, the 117th save of his career. One and two. Game over. Chapman at 101 miles per hour. A 1-2-3 9th inning to nail down the first win of the year, and a well-deserved win for Johnny Cueto. It's also his first career win here at Miller Park. 2-1 Reds. They've won 3 in a row. Our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. Chris, this was a pitch. Errant pitch was brought in, but proved to be the winning run.
Well, there's little ball. and then there's fast little ball. And when Billy Hamilton comes in, not only does he score, not even the umpire can get out of the way. That is the go-ahead run turned into the winning run, and they're giving high fives on the field before they head into the Reds dugout. You lose 3 in St. Louis, you forget all about that when you win 3 in a row here in Milwaukee, and 1 more to go tomorrow.
That'll be Homer Bailey and Kyle Loesch. And Reds Live will get underway at 1 o'clock. Reds Live, the post-game version set to get started. Billy Hamilton's very joined, and Jim Day. Reds win 2-1.